Good evening, my brothers and sisters. Um, Obviously, it's late. Just returning from work. I just wanted to check in with the God Hour channel. Let everybody know everything's okay. Me and everybody I know are safe. Here in Alabama, we're going through cold. That's very unusual, very testing, uh, physically, emotionally. uh, I don't know if spiritually would be considered, uh, but I suppose for some it is. Um, but I want to apologize because I've been working a lot more than usual, by necessity. Otherwise, the business that I work at would not be able to maintain its duty to the community, uh, and by extension, my own duty to God. Um, Now, we did, in fact, do a God Hour live, focusing on the importance of a Sabbath day, of a day of rest, of a day to not work, essentially. And while that may make me a hypocrite in some form or fashion, um, so be it. Sometimes you simply are needed 7 days in a week, sometimes for weeks at a time. Uh, and those are the weeks that I need God the most to get me through this. For someone with a lot of physical impairments, I wouldn't be able to do it without him. But considering the growth that God Hour has experienced here lately, I don't want anybody to think that I'm not thinking of you guys as well. I do pray that you're all safe and well and reasonably comfortable, that you have heat and electricity and so on, groceries and utilities, infrastructure, those things. Anyway, um, I've been trying to post a verse of the day and quote of the day for the God Hour short here and there, but as my schedule is changing day to day, therefore God Hour has been changing day to day, even sometimes to the point where I haven't been able to give an entire first hour of the day to God, like I want to. Although I suppose one could argue that working is also serving God, because God may not sign my paychecks, but I feel like I'm working for God in my day job. So be that as it may, that doesn't negate the importance and the duty that I have to the Christian community and the agnostic community, of trying to explain and hopefully guide them to Jesus. But I don't believe in beating somebody over the head with the Bible, metaphorically speaking, or literally speaking. I don't think beating anybody with any book is a good idea. You might damage the book. It's a joke. But if you're watching this, why don't we go ahead and do a God Hour short in the middle of this. Verse of the day, 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 2. There is none holy as the Lord, for there is none beside thee, neither is there any rock like our God. It's an interesting 1 Samuel, especially probably both Samuels, are really good content in this, not like YouTube content, but just the contents of the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel especially, is really good stuff, and this is a good example. There is none holy as the Lord, for there is none beside thee. Obviously, if you're the only one, you're the holiest one. Neither is there any rock like our God. Well, what is a rock? Rock is something that is certainly in the time of printing, if you will, recording the Bible. A rock was considered to be something immovable, indestructible almost, or a rock represented something unchanging and powerful, durable. But even though the rocks pale in comparison to our God, capital G, and pardon me, it's cold, I got the sniffles and all that kind of stuff, and been burning the candle on both ends. And I am due a day of rest, but I'll get that in due time. There's no everything works under God's schedule, like it or not. And it is true, all these little cliches that we've heard all of our lives. Good things come to those who wait. You reap what you sow, etc., etc. Cliches become cliches because they are timeless. They hold through time and are proven over and over and over again. So just because something is cliche doesn't make it wrong. Almost invariably, cliches are proven, similar to stereotypes. And I will acknowledge that the stereotypical Christian leaves a lot to be desired as far as the non-Christian is concerned. And that's why I try to present my own Christianity in a different fashion than my Christian colleagues, counterparts, if you will. I've lived the life of sin, and I still sin day to day, but I've lived it where that was essentially all I did was sin. See, there's work texting me at this moment here at 11:21 p.m. But it's okay. I'm done for the day. God Hour Short, of course, includes also a quote of the day. And I figure a quote dealing with timelessness in the sense of The Rock. So let's see what we can find here. This is an interesting one from John Lennon of the Beatles. Count your age by friends, not years. Count your life by smiles, not tears. Nice little rhymey quote, but that's just the first one that I've pulled up here. Trying to find a quote from someone who might find a little irony. Perhaps Dwight Yoakam. But that is a valid continuing service that music, which is in some cases 80 or 90 years old, is rendering and proving its own timelessness. Dwight Yoakam being a famous country singer, one that my mother was a big fan of. Death is not an event in life. We do not live to experience death. By a man named Ludwig Wittgenstein. That's a pretty good quote. I don't know how much I agree with it. But here's one by Ram Dass, D-A-S-S, Das. The richness of a moment comes when it's both full and empty at the same time. The truth is we live simultaneously in time and timelessness. I like that one. But also Khalil Gibran, probably a Arabian name. Words are timeless. You should utter them or write them with the knowledge of their timelessness. And that particularly rings true in today's age of social media and such, that these words that I'm sharing now, I'm uttering them with the knowledge that they are timeless and that I cannot erase them, I cannot unsay them. So it definitely behooves you to speak and write, honestly or genuinely. But that's not to say you can't make humor, even parody, or, a lot of people don't understand my jokes, and that's okay. Because as I've often said, you can probably get a better judgment of me if you are to judge me by my actions and not my words. And we're just going to go with the actual quote of the day with Edgar Allan Poe's classic, "Believe nothing you hear, but only half that you see." Anyway, I didn't prepare anything. This is all shooting from the hip and Googling as I go. But I'm expecting, God willing, for God Hour Live in the morning, the way it should be. And we started talking about, or discussing the book of Acts, and we finished with Acts chapter 1. Stands to reason that Acts chapter 2 would be next, but I'm also personally been looking and researching and studying Thessalonians, Second Thessalonians, in fact. So I might touch up on some of that and discuss it. Now, I'm not a preacher, just a guy trying to make his way through the world like the rest of us and make sense of all the things going on in the world and go to sleep peacefully without feeling guilt and regret. And every day that I go to work, come home, knowing that I did my duty as a citizen, as a servant of the Lord. I served my community and served God, and did no intentional wrong to anybody. I do. I go right to sleep. I don't toss and turn. And that has not been the case most of my life. Comes a certain clarity you gain once everything that they can take from you, and by they, I don't mean any people, I mean like life and death, like your parents passing. I've been through that, and pretty much all of my family, with the exception of a cousin here and there. I've got no siblings or children, and I don't say that to seek pity or anything like that. It's actually a peaceful, it's a comfort to me. It's something that I don't have to worry about my mom anymore or my dad. And I don't have any children, and the anxiety and the stress of children would have me worried 24/7. Heck, I worry about other people's children more than I should probably, but I can only imagine if they were my own children how much anxiety I would feel. So yeah, there's some things missing from my life that others tend to get or have received or have been blessed by that I have not. But the silver lining is that I've got comfort and peace. I can go to bed, I can get up. In fact, I can even die without causing undue pain and suffering to anybody. Yeah, my friends might be a bit sad, but they're not going to, starve or anything like that. or be handed over to the state or, anything like that. So anyway, like I said, I just wanted to kind of touch in to the God Hour community, let you know what we're going through here in the South. And while it may only be fluctuating between 18 and 30 some odd degrees, that might not sound like a lot if you're from Minnesota or Canada or something. But for us, it's unusually cold, uh, especially for weeks at a time. We're not accustomed to this kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you all for your support and your prayers. And don't hesitate to reach out, admin@godhour.org. And I'll be seeing you all soon. Don't worry. Got a lot of topics in reserve for God Hour Live. I can't wait to discuss with Christian and non-Christian alike. Anyway, good night and have a pleasant tomorrow. For those of you that remember the good era of Saturday Night Live. See you real soon.